Hello and welcome back to Big Nostalgia, the podcast on ABK where we look at the games from our childhood, how they were developed, do they hold up today, what do we think of them, how did they come into being with their design, their music, even just the concepts and ideas behind them. You can tell we haven't done this in like 18 months. I am Phil.
And I'm Vicky.
And today we are bringing you the first of our two N64 specials. So if you're new to the podcast, this podcast has had 3 seasons. The first 2 were based off of N64 games, where we covered 20 games from that era, because that's what we grew up with. And then our most recent season, which was season 3, back in 2022, was 16 GameCube and Wii games.
And at the end of every season, we'd do our top 10 list and we'd rate them. We wouldn't go into them again because obviously that was the whole point of each episode, was to go in and fully explore each game. But at the end, we would give you our opinion, basically just our opinion on which one was the best and which one was the overall favourite game of that series.
So now we are doing, before we come back with our season 4, which is coming out next year, and we'll talk about Game Boy games, we are talking about 2 N64 games we didn't cover in those first 20. This first one is because you needed to play it.
I needed to play it, yes.
And then we needed to wait long enough for it to become nostalgic for you.
Yeah. Can't just play it and then talk about it. No. There is an appropriate amount of time that you give a game to become nostalgic.
And the other is one we just simply missed the first time round, but we're excited to talk about that too.
Yes.
So today's game is Paper Mario, the original for the Nintendo 64. And then the next one, which is coming out in January, or might already be out if it's you're listening to this in the future, is Star Fox 64. But we'll start with Paper Mario. Vicky has done the research and she's going to take us through the story of a flat game.
A flat game, yes. So Paper Mario was developed by Intelligent System, who also created WarioWares, Fire Emblem and Advance Wars back in the day. Shigeru Miyamoto served as the producer and consulted on the project. As always, please apologise for my pronunciation of names. Kamito Takedi and Kokori Aki.
So Kamiko Takeda and Kaori Aoki
wrote the game's script.
Naohiko Aoyama
was the art director responsible for the game's distinctive graphic style.
You can tell we're recording in person for this one because Vicky's just pointing at the words in her notes and I'm saying them.
Pointing at the words, pointing at there's very interesting spelling and names from the Japanese culture. It was released back in the end of 2000, back in the day, in Japan, and early 2001 everywhere else. It was released on the N64 and the IQ player. If you've seen our past seasons, then you'll understand we have gone into the IQ player before. It is a console that was only released in China, but that is just generally what
it was to get around kind of Chinese import laws and things like that at the time, which meant that Nintendo, Sony, etc. couldn't sell in the country. So the IQ player was kind of a way to sidestep that a little bit.
Yeah. So let's go into development. Nintendo approached Square. Square was the team that made Super Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System back in the day. They really enjoyed working with them and wanted to do future projects. But Square actually turned them down to work on the Final Fantasy VII instead. So Nintendo had to do a 360 and they hired Hall Laboratory to write the main story before development was handed over to Intelligent System to develop the game. The game was initially called Super Mario RPG 2 because that's what they were going in to do, but it was slated for release on the 64DD and was first revealed at the Nintendo Space World in '97. However, the development moved to cartridge format instead because it was just, I think sometimes, I don't know about you, but the development takes so long in the early stages, and if things get delayed due to obviously the game system, the game in production that they wanted to use turning them down, by the time it actually got around to creating it, it was just easier to do on the cartridge format instead.
And well, the 64DD also was a bit of a failure, it was a bit of a flop. as a kind of, because it was meant to be an extension for the Nintendo 64. I think we've talked about it before when we talked about F-Zero X.
Yes.
Like there's a few games that were planned because it was like this extension thing, and the N64 was going to sit on top of it.
Yeah.
But it just was not popular. So a lot of games planned for it got moved to cartridge. One bit of trivia: did you know that Super Mario RPG on the SNES never actually was released in Europe?
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, so it'd been very strange if they kept that name over here, because the first time I think we could legitimately, and I put legitimately in quotes, play Super Mario RPG was when it got re-released on the Wii Virtual Console.
Yeah.
That was the first time it got released in Europe. Obviously now you can play the nice shiny remake on Switch, but yeah, we just never had it before.
But it's interesting to think of the game Paper Mario, of what it became, if you think about where it was supposed to start. Definitely if it was just supposed to be like the next in collection with the Super Mario RPG. But
Naohiko
Aoyama took inspiration for the graphics of Papa Rappa, the Rapper, cell animation, and works of Walt Disney and Looney Tunes for the art style. According to the producer, the series' distinct paper-like style for character graphics came from a belief that players, quote end quote, might be getting tired of the computer-generated 3D graphics seen on consoles like the PlayStation, as it was difficult for polygons to bring out the characters' quote cuteness. I'm not going to lie, Paper Mario is the definition of a very cute game. The style is very distinctive, and unlike some of those PlayStation and Nintendo games back on the Nintendo 64, such as games that we have talked about in the past, they're all very kind of like, you look at them now and they're so dated, their look. This is a very unique style that has not dated. I have happily played, obviously I've played Paper Mario, otherwise I wouldn't be able to talk about it, but I played it on the Switch Nintendo 64 console section.
Yeah, the Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, and yeah, it doesn't look dated at all compared to some of the other games that are on there. It looks fresh.
Yeah. Like some games
and very cute
on there, like the quest for the realistic graphics back in the day means that some games just haven't aged very well. We've talked about this quite a lot with games like the Wind Waker as well, where having like a very well-defined art style is a lot better than pushing the graphics to the absolute maximum in terms of how well it ages. I
just feel that you can see this very distinctive style that when people are a little bit more out of the box, at the time, it might not be taken very well. Especially Wind Waker was critiqued a lot for its like toony atmosphere and being like an
too twee,
but actually those unique styles have just dated so much better. Like so much better. I suppose when you're making it, you don't know the potential of where technology can go in the gaming. I mean, no one could have guessed when this was released how well gaming graphics could develop.
Yeah. Sometimes
even just looking back at old games or just trying to play them on your TV screen or computers these days, compared to back in the day, like, it is insane how well computer graphics has taken on. As for Paper Mario, the plot, we've got to have a plot. Every good old Mario story has a plot, and it normally involves Princess Peach being stolen by Bowser. Very classic. However, not so classic is that in this game you can play as Princess Peach, which was a lot of fun back in the day. And then another game that I'm gonna reference quite a bit is obviously Paper Mario: A Thousand Year Door, which took these elements and even developed them even further to be able to be playing as Bowser, which is a lot of fun. So you're Mario, you go and see Peach, and then Bowser lifts the castle up into the sky. He's like, meow, 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 I'm gonna steal Princess Peach, meow, meow, meow. And off he goes.
Great impression.
I know, right? I should be whatchamacallit?
Should be the voice actor for Bowser now.
Jack Black, like, step aside. Yeah. Meow, 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 I'm Bowser. Meow, 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 Princess Peach. Meow, meow, meow. Roar. No, they've got nothing on me. But yeah, he steals a castle. Princess Peach gets kidnapped, and it's Mario's job to go around the different areas and release the stars.
Yeah, the star spirits.
The star spirits who give him powers, and so he can defeat Bowser and stuff like that. There's very distinct stars that you have to save. Would you like to play the game of how many stars can you name or you remember their powers?
Because I've been playing Thousand Year Door recently, so I know that playing Thousand Year Door for the first time. I was like, oh yeah, this is just like the first Paper Mario. So there's like a healing one, which is, I'm going to say, maybe the first guy you save.
Yeah, he does restore health.
There's one that restores health and flower points.
Ah, see, that's the first one. In this one, he's Elder Star. He restores 5 HP, flower points, and he cures status effects.
Yeah. There's one that's like attacking everyone on the field.
Yeah, this one is called Scholar. He does 7 HP attack.
Is there one that does like a status effect like sleep?
Mama is basically the baby one and makes everyone fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But you've also got Clever, who immobilizes enemies.
Okay. What are the other ones?
Then you've got Muscula. He decreases enemies' attack power by 3. You've got Mrs. Star, increases Mario's HP by 20. I think that's a girly one that kind of gives him a kiss when it happens. Because Mario, like, is such a dog in the Paper Mario series.
He's such a ladies' man.
He's such a ladies' man. Kalma is the last one. It turns enemies into stars and potentially removing them from battle. But that doesn't include the bosses, obviously. Yeah. Because that would just be like, boom. Yeah, I've got this guy, boom. Like, final boss has got nothing on me.
Straight to prison.
We win, you lose. Sucks to be you. But yeah, as I said before, Princess Peach is a playable character in this. She gets kidnapped by Bowser and she's like chilling out in her room, like freaking out. There's this little star that comes to her and she explores the castle and has these little mini games. I mean, it's very A to B to C sort of gameplay, but it's very cute and it's very nice that she is added as a playable character.
It breaks up the main story as well. It gives you a little break from. Because
usually Mario.
You've usually just come off of a big boss or something, haven't you? So it's like, it's a bit of a change of pace. And
even though it's an A to B and it's very simple, there's not a lot of exploring to do. It's just nice to be able to walk around as Peach and do these little mini games or make a cake or whatever you need to do.
It's better than just them showing you a cutscene at the end of each thing.
And then she sends the little star down to the ground and keeps Mario updated. So there's also like Tink. And
Twink.
Tinkle, Tink, Twink.
No, it is Twink, yeah.
So if you have played Paper Mario, if you haven't, stop right now and go and play it and then come back to listen to us. We will wait. Or you can pause it.
Yes, wait. You should be playing it right now. This video comes out like, 30 hours and you've played slowly.
Welcome back. But also Thousand Year Door, that I will be talking about the similarities between the two games because it is impossible not to. In the Thousand Year Door, you've got the computer who sends down letters to Mario. Obviously, in this is Twink. But yeah, Twink's a nice little side-along character and it's very engaging and is the connection between Mario and Princess Peach. As I said, there's the 7 star spirits, but throughout the game, you meet 7 characters who help you on your way, little companions. They all have their different pros and cons as being your companions, and each one links into the different areas and the different storylines. Name those characters.
So you start off with Goomba, which is Goombario, isn't it? Because it's Goombella in the second one.
Yes.
I always get confused with the Koopas because they have very similar names. So it's either Koops. Koops is Thousand Year Door, isn't it?
Yeah, this one's just Koopa.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's very similar.
Traditional.
The Bombette.
Bombette, yeah.
The Ghost, who I believe makes a cameo in Thousand Year Door. Chuckles.
No, she has a fan and she always seems to be laughing. It's Lady Bo.
Lady Bo, that was it. Little light bulb dude.
What?
Yeah.
He's quite cute. And quite original as well, because he doesn't feel like a very main character or enemy from any other Mario games.
Yeah, he's not like a known species, is he?
No. So, for example, Goobarino is obviously just a Goomba. Same with Koopa and Bombette and stuff like that. But what is actually made specifically for this series, which is quite cute. Would you like me to say the last ones?
Then you got the postman.
Yeah, you missed him.
Parakarry.
You've only got 2 left.
Got 2 left. I can only think of the fish.
Yeah, which has the most, like, I find it the darkest name. I love it. I love his name.
Isn't it Sushi?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is like someone was having a bad day or something, or someone just thought that would be like funny for shits and giggles, and it got accepted, and it was like, oh shit, Sushi's been like accepted.
What's the last one?
The guy in the cloud.
Oh, Lucky Lester or something.
So you got them. You generally got all of them. Nicely done. Obviously, they all come with their pros and weaknesses. In the Thousand Year Door, you get similar sort of characters, but with similar sort of powers. The Goomba one always seems to be giving you information. The Koopa one always gives you the shell attack. The Ghost one always makes you invisible or takes you away from the situation. The bomb
blows up.
There's a certain level, but in comparison with the Thousand Year Door, they all are relevant to the story. Like, you've got your classic setup, which is the ones we just mentioned, but like what is very specific for Paper Mario, and then the Ghost Girl.
Oh yeah. You mean the one that can blow everyone away?
No.
Oh.
Is it one of the Shadow Ladies? Oh, sorry, I don't think you've got to that bit yet.
I know the character. I know she's on the box. Like, I know she's an important character.
But she becomes your companion as well,
the
Shadow Lady. I want to say it's like, not Karen, but like a name like Karen.
Vivian.
It's a name like Karen.
It's close to Karen. They both end in the sound. Yeah.
Vivian's an awesome character, but yeah, very specific to that storyline with the Shadow characters.
With the Shadow Sisters.
Whereas the What is very... Yeah. And I feel the worlds are as well, but I'll go into that a little bit later. The gameplay of Paper Mario combines traditional role-playing games, such as the RPG elements, with concepts and features from the Mario series. For the majority of the game, the player controls Mario, who can jump and use his hammer to overcome physical obstacles placed in the game's overworld. Many of the game's puzzles and boundaries are based upon the abilities of Mario's partners, who each have a special skill required for the progression of the game. The player accumulates partners as they advance through the different locations, as we just said. Only one partner can accompany Mario in the overworld, although players can interchange them at any point. So there is certain areas as well, like you notice in the first world or on the way to the first world, and you see like an item floating up somewhere high. You're just like, how am I supposed to get that? And then you get the Koopa who can fly you across. Oh no, the Parakeet that can... Paracoopa who can fly.
Parakeet.
That's a different story.
That's a different animal.
The parakeet who can...
Paracoopa.
Parakeet who can fly you across. Yeah, so you got the Paracuta.
Paracuta. We're just combining them now.
The one who can fly, that can fly you across.
Yeah.
Or you've got the Koopa in the shell that you can hit. And
he'll pick stuff up if you kick him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and there's certain areas in the world, such as you look at it and you go, that's a big body of water, I can't get across that. And then you meet Sushi, the fish, and then you can jump on his back and go through it. So it's interesting to have those sort of elements within the outer world as well as in the different sections. As I said before, it's a very much A to B to C sort of game, but I don't particularly find that as a bad thing. You follow the storyline through, you go through the different overworlds. The progression through the Paper Mario depends on interactions with the game's non-playable characters, who often offer up clues or details for the next events in the storyline. Then obviously there'll be bad guys around that you have to interact with, and as we said, with the original concept being Super Mario RPG 2, this being that game, it's no surprise that the fightable bits are very RPG-like.
Like the combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they do develop that in the Paper Mario series as well, which is really lovely to see. But for the first one, I think it's very... Yeah, I think it's done very well. The game's soundtrack was first released in Japan on September the 21st, 2000. It was followed in the United States a few months later by a Nintendo Power exclusive, with the illustrations from the international game cover. It included both original music for the game as well as sound effects in 78 tracks on 2 discs. Right, for anyone who's too young, a CD had like tracks on it and could come in like multiple discs. I'm glad to be able to help.
The road trip mix of putting in the Paper Mario sound effects disc. You're like,
boing!
Bump.
Meh, I'm Bowser. Meh. I'm gonna steal Princess Peach. Rah.
Yeah, that's what I need for my road trip.
Yeah, this is the good stuff. The game, other events and sound effects and music was composed by Tashi Senda. The game's music mostly received positive reviews, with Lucas M. Thomas of IGN describing it as vivid, appointed with catchy, expressive tunes and comical audio cues. I think the music is iconic as well.
Yeah.
If you think of all the Mario games and how there is a certain tune for Mario, to make unique Mario music is very difficult. Same with Legend of Zelda, same with a lot of Nintendo, same with a lot of series. Once you get that certain sound, your fans are expecting that certain sound. So I've always really enjoyed the Mario music because it does have that sort of, if you're looking for a cute and quirky and like original gameplay, you want music to match that energy.
And I think the soundtrack's got 1 or 2 like leitmotifs or like references to older games, but generally I think it's pretty solidly different as well. Like obviously we use the main battle theme we used for our teaser trailer. I think that's one of my favourite battle themes in the game.
Yeah. But
also like I could tell you like I think it's either like the Goomba Road or it's something like that, which is like the do 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 do. You know, like it's got quite like, you know, the music matches the environment you're in quite well, and it's Mario without being like do 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 do, you know, like being just riffing on what already exists. Although you know they can do that sometimes, and that's fun.
But imagine if you had a Twilight Princess, like quite serious game, and then you had the music from Wind Waker in that environment. The music very much has to match the environment. I do think it does in this. So with that cutie upbeat tune. Future releases of this game. The game later released on the iQ Player in 2004 for anyone in China. Paper Mario.
Shout out to all our Chinese listeners.
Whoop whoop. Paper Mario saw a number of re-releases for later Nintendo consoles, such as the Wii Virtual Console in July 2007, the Wii U Virtual Console in April 2015, and via the Nintendo Switch Online service in December 2021, which is how I played it. In 2023, the Paper Mario was fully decompiled, making it an unofficial PC port and mods possible, which is always a lot of fun.
Yeah, as long as Nintendo, if you're listening to this, they didn't do that. Don't go looking for it and don't send any NDAs.
No,
not NDAs.
On the download.
Take down notices,
Yeah, on the download. Down low. Boo.
Keep the download on the down low.
As for the reception of Paper Mario, it received critical acclaim, receiving a 93 out of 100 on Metacritic based on 15 reviews though.
Yeah.
That's a bit meh.
But it might just be that back in the day Metacritic might not be able to get the print reviews quite as easily as the online ones.
Well, this one's a bit better. The game was a top selling in Japan on the week of its release, selling more than 276,000 copies, and the top selling game for 2 weeks in other regions. It was ranked 141st on Electronic Gaming Monthly's greatest 200 video games of their time in February 2006, and 63rd of the best games made by Nintendo systems in Nintendo's Power's top 200 game list, and then 13th greatest Nintendo 64 games of all time by the same magazine. It's currently ranked as the 6th highest scoring Nintendo 64 game on Metacritic and the 9th highest rated video game of 2001, and the highest scoring Nintendo 64 game released of that year. Boom, sorted.
So people
liked
tend
it.
to like it. It's somewhere within their top 200 games.
Yeah, like it wasn't like top tier, but it wasn't bottom. It was well received.
Yeah.
And I don't see why not, because it is a beautiful game. There was some critiques, obviously, with all games there is. There was complaints that it was brain dead easy puzzles and bosses required basic strategy at best. The game was often being compared to the previous Mario RPG titles, Super Mario RPG. It was judged that Paper Mario is vastly superior games to SMRPG, while IGN compared the game's simple plot unfavourably. So, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I think complaining about a Mario... Well, I don't know. I think in this modern day you can maybe expect a bit more from the Mario RPG games, but back then... I don't know, it's like a cute looking game is not that difficult. Like, we were talking about cozy games this morning, weren't we, before we started recording?
Yeah.
And like Paper Mario almost fits into that thing of a cozy game more than actually like a serious RPG where you end up fighting God at the end, like the Final Fantasy games and stuff like that.
It really depends what you want out of your gaming experience. There's definitely games that I play to be more challenged, and there's definitely games that I play to be more cozy. And I don't think one is particularly better than the other, but I just think it's hard to compare both.
Yeah.
Especially if they've got similar gameplay. It just means that the overall ability or hardness level is just different. The outcomes are different, or the expectations are different.
Well, I think that just goes... Now we're just getting on to just critiquing how video game review systems work in general.
Bringing it back to Paper Mario, I think Paper Mario is a very unique game made of its time. If you think about what it was based off of and how it was developed initially,
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that they ended up with what they did, and that it has been very successful. I mean, there is obviously games down the line. There's
There's 6.
There's 6 in the Paper Mario series.
They typically, it's like, one every console since the N64.
And we've talked about them, haven't we? And said the only one that neither of us has played is the crayon one.
Neither of us have played the 3DS one or the Wii U one.
Yeah.
So we've both played Paper Mario 64. We've both played Thousand Year Door, although I've yet to complete it. I've played Super Paper Mario. We do have that somewhere here for the Wii. Didn't play Colour Splash.
Colour Splash, that was the one.
Didn't play Sticker Star. I've heard Sticker Star is really boring.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments if you've played either of those and they're worth checking out.
Yeah, we do want to hear about it because neither of us have played it.
Did you play Origami King?
No, I wanted.
Did you want to play it?
I want it.
Yeah.
I want it.
Yeah.
I want it now.
Because I borrowed it from somebody.
You did, and then you gave it back. How rude.
I know. I didn't just keep their game forever.
I know. Like, for me to play, that's just very inconsiderate.
I know. I'm sorry.
But you said that there are certain things that you noticed from obviously these early games that have translated well over, and some that just haven't. Each game is quite unique to the joy about having a side Mario storyline such as Paper Mario is that developments and creators can be more experimental than they can with a normal A to B, C to D sort of Mario game. They have, I do feel that Paper Mario has been a series that has been explored with, like the concepts have been. Outside of Paper Mario to Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, which personally, you can argue with me as much as you like in the comments, but my personal opinion is kind of a carbon copy to an extent.
Yeah.
Then the other games have been very much different. They have been exploring different ways of gameplay. You were saying Origami King is even like a circular thing for fights now, isn't it?
Yeah, so Paper Mario and Thousand Year Door are the only two that kind of keep that traditional turn-based fight combat. And I don't know if that's because after Thousand Year Door came Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, and obviously that's another Mario RPG series that very much does the turn-based combat, but you can dodge. But after that, Super Paper Mario goes to like a real-time combat system. Like, you just, you jump on the enemies. It is about timing and platforming and stuff like that. And jumping on the enemies, you will get the damage numbers come up, but it's not turn-based. It's like more action than that. Yeah. Then the Colour Splash and Sticker Star use like gimmicks, like stickers and like Sticker Star used like single-use stickers, so you had to like keep collecting. It was basically like a kind of like the breakable weapons in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
But a bit more extreme because you can only use each one once.
No, I don't mind that. I don't mind that in a series because they're obviously exploring, but they're going to have hits
And they're going to have misses. Yeah.
That is the joy of something like that. And from what we've heard, the Sticker Star and the Colour Splash has been more of a miss than a hit.
But based on you were saying about Origami King, I kind of liked the combat in that because it did repeat after a while. There's only so many iterations of that puzzle you can do. But mixing up for the boss fights, you have to make Mario a little route through like the outskirts to get to the boss in the middle to be able to attack, and it just kind of was. It made it like it leaned into the puzzle game elements a bit more, which I enjoyed.
And definitely, if you consider my viewpoint on the fact that Paper Mario and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door are quite similar, it's actually nice that they didn't continue. If they continued down that path with the other ones, I think this series would not have continued. It would not have a stand-in right now. They needed to try something new. They needed to go outside the box.
I think it depends what you... Again, it goes to what you were saying. It depends what you value most in your RPGs.
Yeah.
Because I think the only weakness with the more recent... I think that one of the reasons people don't really like Colour Splash and Sticker Star as much is that it's back to like Bowser being the villain and like Peach gets kidnapped. It's all... Like the story actually doesn't do much interesting.
Yeah.
Like Origami King's got like a bit more of an interesting setup with Peach getting like brain controlled and like Bowser getting folded in half.
Yeah. What,
but
like Star Trek sort of vibes into like the void?
A little bit, because it's like this whole origami thing. Yeah.
No, Superman. That's Superman as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Superman, where he fold and he's like stuck in the square and
he's spinning out into. Anyway, I think I might be
getting
my
a bit
age.
off topic.
We're getting a bit off topic.
Yeah.
Super Paper Mario is the best-selling game in the series with 4.3 million sales as of 2019. The series has collectively sold 12.54 million copies.
Do we know if that's up to date given the Thousand Year Door re-release?
No, because that's from 2019. Those.
Okay, so possibly
it might not be anymore.
Just because most of these series have had like their games sell a lot more on the Switch, just because the Switch has so many consoles.
And the fact that Paper Mario was if you had the online Nintendo account, it was a free.
Yeah.
Whereas, of course, Thousand Year Door obviously has been sold as a fully game. I just find it very interesting how many people prefer Thousand Year Door to Paper Mario. So if you are of that mindset, I really want to hear your comments below.
I mean, I prefer Thousand Year Door, I think.
Do you? Because I prefer Paper Mario. Because
I think it's got like almost a more unique identity right from the get-go.
Okay. Like with the separate town and
with
stuff?
Rogueport, and like obviously it's got a kind of a darker setting, because obviously even though it's still paper and it's bright colours and whimsy, like there's like a noose in like the town square, and like it was removed in the remake, but you could find like an outline of like a character, like a chalk outline. Like it's very much implied to be like lots of crime takes, like you have to like infiltrate the mafia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think Paper Mario was the best first Mario, aside from Super Mario RPG, obviously we never got that when it released in Europe. I think Paper Mario is like a good introduction to like the Paper Mario series.
Absolutely.
I think story-wise, I think Thousand Year Door is able to develop a bit more. But then there's bits that I liked that you didn't like, because we've already discussed it, but like the glitz place up in the clouds.
Yeah. You
didn't really like that chapter, did you?
I found that quite repetitive and quite boring, because you just go out and defeat someone and then you go to the next person and defeat them. Like, it was very monotonous. Like, I like the fact that you got Yoshi. I like the fact that you could name him. I named mine Badass. But at the same time, like, it was very... For me, it was very cut and dry. What I like most about Paper Mario over Thousand Year Door is that these ideas and these concepts, even though the critique said that they copied some of the ideas from
Mario RPG,
which of course is a game I haven't played, I thought they were very original concepts, whereas like certain areas like Cooper Town in Thousand Year Door I've already seen, like the train I've already seen, like even the space and clouds, and the toy box in Paper Mario I found a lot more just finding that toy box and then going into it and
Weird
being
and
shot and
wacky,
down,
yeah.
weird and wacky, and the bit I really enjoyed from Thousand Year Door was very simple and very A to B, was playing as Bowser, like standing there, stomp, 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 rah, and just like blowing fire. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But the interactions with Peach, with the robot, very much the same as Twink.
Yeah.
Like,
except a little bit creepier.
Yeah, because he kind of loved her, didn't he? And
Yeah.
kind of like wanted to.
I want to know what love is. I want you to show me.
So, we do in this series, if you haven't seen something like this before that we've done, we do really appreciate a good quirk. So these are some of the quirks that I've managed to find out about Paper Mario. Paper Mario is the first title outside of Japan to explain Bowser's true motives for constantly kidnapping Princess Peach. He has a crush on her. This is evidence from the diary of Bowser's that Princess Peach can read. They said, "I kidnapped Princess Peach. I couldn't be happier. Diary, I hope she likes me."
Aww.
Aww, Bowser.
You big softy.
Paper Mario was the first Mario RPG title to feature Bowser as the main bad guy. Though this seems rather obvious, as Bowser is a recurring enemy throughout the Super Mario franchise, he surprisingly was not the antagonist in the previously released Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. Instead, in that title, he teams up with Mario to help get rid of their common enemy, Smithy. Grr.
Grr.
Additionally, Bowser didn't reprise his role as the main bad guy for Paper Mario series again until its fourth title, Paper Mario Sticker Star 3DS.
That's what we were just talking about. Yeah.
Because of course in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, it's that robot Octomore guy, the big old tin guy with the eyes.
It's
the one who makes me think of Eggman.
It's Count Black, I want to say, in Super Paper Mario.
Yeah, the one.
He's got like the monocle and the top hat.
An Origami King. It's the Origami.
It's the Origami Prince or whatever. It's Prince Ollie.
Really?
Yeah.
Prince Ollie.
Yeah, it's Ollie and Olivia are the main origamis.
It appeared that the Paper Mario series is in a separate chronological universe from other Super Mario franchises as a whole. This is evidence in the Paper Mario Sticker Star, which was the first Paper Mario title to feature both Bowser Jr. and Kermac. When Mario
Kamek.
Kamek.
You kind of sound like you're saying Kermit there.
You don't know.
Hi ho.
Bowser Jr. and hi ho. What's everyone doing here? When Mario first meets each of these characters, though they know of him from his reputation, they make it clear that they haven't met before. Of course, Mario encounters both Bowser Jr. and Kamek in many titles that released previous to this, but they were not of the Paper Mario universe.
But I think Paper Mario is kind of considered his own character, isn't he? Because that's why people are like they want Paper Mario to be in like Mario Kart or Smash Bros alongside the regulars.
That'd be really cool, but the whole 2D element is a bit difficult, isn't it?
I think I think with like modern Mario,
and he just flies from a Mario Kart. He has to be like strapped down, otherwise he flies away.
well, maybe his kart is just flat. You know, like it's almost like a, you know, like how the.
But then from the background view, what do you see it flat moving that way?
Well, I don't know, when it plays like the replay or something, like Luigi's doing obviously his devil stare, just like a thin, like sideways on piece of paper.
Paper Mario Inception. There are few occasions within the Paper Mario franchise when the game references the series itself. For example, in Paper Mario, during the party scene at the end, it is revealed that the novelist character named Hemingway that Mario meets early in the game is now writing a book called Paper Mario. Additionally, in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, there's a blue toad character who lives in Rogueport who writes a Paper Mario novel that then gets adapted into a play.
Ah.
6 main series games across 6 consoles. Nintendo has one of the best reputations in the gaming industry when it comes to first-player franchises. Since the days of original Nintendo Entertainment System, some continue to go strong, while others emerged after decades of dormancy. Paper Mario impressively produced 7 games in 2 decades, spanning 6 Nintendo consoles from the Nintendo 64 all the way up to the modern-day Switch. The lengthiest absence of the Paper Mario was a 5-year window between the Wii's Super Paper Mario to the Nintendo's 3D sticker style pivot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that probably feeds into a bit of why Sticker Star just ended up disappointing people, is because they've been waiting a long time for a Paper Mario game. But I've never played it, so maybe I'd play it and I'd like it, but it just has a bad reputation.
Tempted to try it. It's on 3DS and we both have one.
Yeah.
So if I could find it.
It's the tempting one if you could find it second hand or something.
Yeah, I don't think I'd buy it first hand because it's probably a bit of a collector's
Depend. Well, no, because Nintendo did that whole Nintendo Selects thing, didn't they, over here?
They did.
And I think Paper Mario was one of the Nintendo Selects titles. In
Although, you know, as soon as I do, then it'll become as a playable thing on Switch.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you do, they'll announce like the Switch 2, which is also 3D, and therefore it will have a 3DS Nintendo Switch Online, or it will have. It'll be the least expected thing you can expect from Nintendo. It'll be like, oh, you wanted a GameCube Switch Online? Nah, we're just skipping straight to 3DS.
The Paper Mario games have introduced some inventive villains that go far beyond the limits of another altercation with Bowser. Rawr. While earlier titles altered Mario's characters, featuring possessed or mutated versions of Peach, Bowser and Luigi, every Paper Mario game since Sticker Star hasn't been allowed to do so. Now new releases need to create wholly original enemies, which also explains why Origami King leans to the stationary battle approach. This reflects an unfortunate tightening of restrictions and productions from IP from Nintendo.
Yes, this was a thing for a while that... And I believe, well, you know, I think there's hope that it's kind of starting to go off. Nintendo's starting to loosen up again, but there was a period where, like, for whatever reason, Nintendo's really strict on IP. Like, characters had to be certain ways, and, like, you know, in Super Paper Mario, you've got, like, a twisted version of Luigi, and, like, you've got twisted versions of Bowser in some of the Mario RPGs, but, like, even, like, the fact that all the races and stuff are all different in Thousand Year Door.
Yeah.
Like, in the Wii U and the 3DS one, to an extent in the Switch one, it's like they're all kind of just, like, regular Toads. Yeah. Like, all the NPCs are just regular Toads. And it's like, I think that hopefully is starting to loosen up just because of how, like, stuff like Super Mario Wonder's been a bit more out there and creative. I'm kind of hoping that the chains are starting to come off a bit. We'll maybe see a bit, because this comes out obviously in October. Next month is Mario and Luigi Brothership.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see because obviously that series is kind of under some of the same restrictions. So see if that's got some like creative ideas in it.
I don't particularly mind that there's been restrictions. I think it promotes Nintendo not just to go down stuff that they know works and actually challenge themselves a bit more. I do like a bit of that, but at the same time it's about having a balance, isn't it? And having evil Princess Peach and evil Luigi and evil Bowser?
Well, it's usually like Bowser is controlled by the actual enemy for a while, and then Mario...
Or like Zant in Twilight Princess.
But to be honest, I found Bowser, to be honest, to be one of the more consistent characters through the series. Like,
what, of the Paper Mario series?
With his writing and stuff, he's kind of like a weird goofy villain, isn't he? Like,
he's adorable. Yeah. He's just like, I should be involved in rah, 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 rah. Oh, I'm old news now. Trying to keep up. There's some really creative aesthetics to the Super Mario titles that often go unrecognised, like the idea that Super Mario Bros. 3 is supposed to be viewed as a stage play. The first 3 Paper Mario entries follow this approach and present their adventures as cherished storybooks. To go one step further, there are even characters within the Paper Mario games who appear in the process of writing the Paper Mario novel. In an interesting twist, Heronway's novel seems to be a crossover and shows up in Luigi's Mansion. But that's interesting, isn't it? And even though there's a crossover into Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, and it's fun little framing devices like that is why you can kind of explain away these multiple universes and story crossovers and things. Is like they are just all like stories.
But especially concerning the Luigi's Mansion crossover. The original Paper Mario was one of the last games to come out on the Nintendo 64 and was developed at a point when Nintendo was already deep at work on their next console, the GameCube. Including a bonus element in Paper Mario, the main character could sneak some peeks in Luigi's diary. These entries singled out both Luigi's fear of ghosts and his desires to be headlined in his own game, where his name is in the title. This all pointed towards the GameCube's launch title, Luigi's Mansion, and became a fun Easter egg for Nintendo fans. Which is just really cute, I think.
Yeah, I like Luigi's diary entries in that game.
And the fact that they were making the GameCube game at the time, so why not have a little bit of fun with it?
Yeah.
Especially as Luigi's diary entries would be potentially nearer the end.
Yeah.
The Paper Mario series has gradually moved away from the RPG roots, leaving handheld Mario and Luigi series to take over as a primary Super Mario RPG franchise. The Mario and Luigi titles have been standouts since their Game Boy Advance origins, but they often get overlooked since they are largely handheld titles. Nintendo indulges in a creative crossover between Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario series with the Nintendo 3DS game Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. The game faithfully honours both series and offers a double for the Mario and Luigi mayhem.
Yes, I played Paper Jam.
What did you think of it?
I didn't beat it.
Did you not?
No. I think
Was it too hard or just
got
boring?
No, I got stuck at a really awkward bit where you have to like sneak by some toads, I want to say. And I tried it like a bunch of times and I just kind of lost, you know, you do steam with these things.
You do. It's so easy to lose steam with games.
And I think, again, it's a fun game, but I think the only problem it has is like it doesn't lean into the Paper Mario stuff enough. Like, they open a book and all the paper characters come out, but you never really go into the Paper Mario world. It's all in
their world, yeah.
Like, Paper Mario basically just becomes your third party member, because obviously you don't have different companions and stuff.
Yeah.
I think, actually, it didn't lean into the concept enough.
Yeah, it could have been more wild, it could have been more than what it ended up being.
Especially, like, the villain just ends up being two Bowsers.
Ah, boom. Part of the fun of most RPGs is that they contain a big amount of people for their parties, where the player can control several unique individuals. Admittedly, the Paper Mario games largely focus on Mario as a leader, but the games have slowly gained more confidence when it comes to straying away from this formula. Throughout the series, gamers can play other beloved Super Mario characters like Princess Peach, Luigi, and even Bowser. This has become less of a novelty to control supporting characters in Mario games, but it still helps mix up the series formula. I think that is something that, as we said earlier, the A to B to C of Princess Peach, I still like playing as her. I like having that element, and I think that is a nice, for your first playthrough, and you just kind of like, oh, I'm Princess Peach now. Oh, okay, what can I do? Barely anything. But I don't care. I'm going to explore.
Yeah, and they kind of make it comes to like its fullest point when your party in Super Paper Mario is Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Bowser.
Yeah.
And you can play them all in like the main story.
Yeah.
So it is nice to see that develops.
So overall, with the Paper Mario game, I like it, and I know I'm probably going to be in the like the lower vote in this, but I prefer Paper Mario to Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I think it has a varied amount of worlds. I really enjoy all the characters. I enjoy Sushi, I enjoy Watt, I enjoy very much the characters that are for that world. It feels very unique. Thousand Year Door, I like how it's developed, and I liked Rogueport and everything like that. I especially like Luigi just turning up occasionally and telling you that he's on his own adventure with like marshmallows and s'mores and all this stuff. No, Eclair. Princess Eclair.
Princess Eclair, but he goes to like all these like food themed places,
which is amazing, and I just hope he's just going on a proper food binge and just trying to make it more than it is.
And it's interesting because you'll hear his side of the story, and then one of his companions will be there and be like, "This idiot tried to kill me."
Yeah. But so I like to see how it's developed. I also like to hear about Origami King and the other games within the series, but from where it started, definitely from what it was supposed to be, I think it's a very unique game that still holds up playing it 20 years down the line. Yeah,
I think it holds up really well. Like I play obviously a bit of these games before we record, because we put a little bit of video of gameplay in the YouTube version. And it's just, you know, I could have sat there and just played it all night if I didn't have to go and do other things, just because it's such an endearing game. There's such like fun little gameplay loop of like battles and things. Yeah, there's a reason I think it's such a beloved franchise, and I think a lot of it stems from what this first game kind of introduced.
Please, can you put down your comments below? Have you enjoyed Paper Mario game? Is it not your favourite from the series, or is it your overall favourite? Very much like to hear your opinions. But that is it for the Paper Mario Big Nostalgia episode.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Obviously, if you're not already subscribed to ABK Studios on YouTube, then please do, because we've got Big Nostalgia, which is our podcast about video games, where we talk about them like this and we reflect, and it can like be good to have that conversation in the comments with people who really like grew up these games as well, because we really enjoy reading the comments and like getting the different perspectives on things. We've also got different videos you can watch. We've got a Banjo-Kazooie parody series called Banjo-Kazooie Abridged. If you're watching this in October, then there is a new special for that coming out next month. We've got a Zelda parody series called Zelda Parody Anthology, of which there are episodes on our channel to watch. We've also got some just like more chilled out gaming videos, like we've got a Mario Party series.
Oh, just check out like us playing a Mario Maker as well. That
Mario
is
Maker
hilarious.
2, that is actually, that's not chill, that's chaos.
It's chaos to play. It was chill. The concept was chill, but actually play was absolute chaos, and that just gets me like, laughing on the floor hilariously. It was so much fun, along with our Overcooked as well.
Yeah,
that is pure. Yeah, if you want to see a fully grown man nearly cry, then please watch that. It is hilarious.
We've also got ABK Arcade, which is our Let's Play channel, where you can find series that cover A Hat in Time, Shovel Knight. We recently played through Pikmin 3 Mission Mode. We're about to start uploading our Bowser's Fury Let's Play. And then we've got an Undertale Let's Play coming, and then we're going to do some Zelda later than that.
Thank you ever so much for joining us, and yeah, look out for the next one of Star Fox 64.
Star Fox 64 coming in January 2025.
But for today, I have been Vicky.
I've been Phil.
And thank you very much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.